You're with us here on a fresh new edition of Trading Hour, 11 a.m. this Thursday morning, and the market basically is almost moved back to the high point of the day. We're up about 20 points, all that there is to show on the index, but it was looking like it's again heading south after what we saw yesterday in the last 1 hour. Briefly, it didn't last very long. The market got bought, but at that point it looked like there could be a continuation of the last hour selling. And it was pretty brutal, especially on the index yesterday. It's not a bad-looking screen at this point in time. We can talk about sectors, etc. But I think last 2 days the big theme has been, big reaction on earnings. One way or the other, up or down. And we've got a couple that we're going to discuss in some detail over the next few minutes as well. Remember, overnight after Monday's pretty sharp sell-off on the U.S. markets. Tuesday's sharp sell-off on U.S. markets, things were a little better yesterday, overnight. So markets, the indices, the broad indices in the U.S. were higher. There wasn't any sort of fresh trade tension or comments one way or the other. Given all of that, it's a decent kind of a start that we've got this Thursday morning. As I said, action very much on stocks. With me is my colleague Ekta Batra. Hi, Ekta.
Hi, Prashant. Yes, absolutely. It's all a lot about what's happening with stocks today. So I just want to point out a couple of them. So, for example, Reliance Industries is back on the gaining track. Remember that there was a little bit of a knock that it had seen in the past couple of days, but now up around 1.7% for that stock. Bharti Infratel, which is in fact reacting to numbers and was reacting positively, but now at the low point of the day, down around 2%. So reversal for that one. Yes Bank coming out with numbers and a couple of other results reactions. For example, Globe, in fact, at the high point up around 3.9%, and Ujjivan, just look at the way that stock has gone, up around 6%. Want to point out Tata Motors as well, top loser on the Nifty. There's a CLSA cut which has come in on its EPS. They've retained their sell call and they have a target price of 150 rupees. So that stock is under pressure as well. Lot to discuss over the next 1 hour. Let's get going in terms of the top technical calls at 11 a.m. Sudarshan Sukhani joins in for that. Sudarshan, morning, over to you. Recommendations, index as well as stock?
Yeah, good morning. Well, the index has disappointed us yesterday. We were long on suggesting long positions, maintaining long positions till support at 10,850 holds, and that broke down yesterday. After 5 or 6 days of trading range action, the fact that the support level broke down, the Nifty fell below that level, that's not bullish. So as of today, I think there is no trade in the Nifty and no trade in the Nifty Bank. It is possible that a pre-budget rally may still come about, maybe some 100, 150 points, but the sense of bullishness that prevailed till yesterday has gone away. I would now assume that this market eventually will become a sell-on rallies market. The fact that a trading range breaks down is a big message that the markets have given us yesterday. So no trades today. Even if there is a rally, I would be a seller into that rally.
What would you do with stocks, Sudarshan?
Well, stocks are mixed today. That's okay. After that big decline, there will be opportunities, and mid caps are offering short-term opportunities at least. So UBL is a buy. UBL sometimes does its own thing. This entire sector, while the Nifty can do something else. Buy UBL and buy Oro Pharma. Again, the defensives are coming into play. IT, pharma, consumer goods. So UBL and Oro Pharma are buying opportunities for the day, and metals is something I have been bearish on. JSW Steel is a sell for the day.
Okay, JSW Steel is a sell for the day. Well, at the risk of repetition, Sudarshan, I wanted to ask you on Ujjivan, and what would you probably recommend on that stock?
I would recommend exiting that stock if you own it, and if you don't own it, good for you. Please do not buy it. Ujjivan is giving a sense that this is the last leg of any up move that it may see for the next couple of months.
Okay, actually there is Ujjivan, which is up 6%. There is Equitas, which is coming up about 3.25% or so. Both from that same space. The other ones are Indigo, which is up about 4% or so. Actually, we're going to talk about Indigo and Ujjivan right now. Sudarshan, it's a pleasure. Thanks very much for joining us with those trades and that advice on individual stocks. Okay, let's start with Indigo. Anisha is here. Numbers came through yesterday, and the numbers were in terms of there wasn't a big poll for Indigo in terms of what everyone in the market was expecting. Not many do estimate numbers on a quarterly basis for the company, but the ones we had, the actual numbers were below the headline and profit numbers, etc. The stock is up about 4% or so, so the market is looking past that. Anisha, what are you picking up?
Oh, well, yes, Prashant. As you mentioned, there are 2-3 things that you need to look for Indigo results. First up, as you mentioned, the expectations from the company were higher and they have underperformed a tad bit versus the expectation. But the revenue has jumped up by 28% this quarter, but the profit has declined 75%, and that is because the cost of the company has gone up. If you look at the fuel cost, that is up around 70% on a year-on-year basis, and other costs has also gone up around 40%. However, having said that, you have to take on board the fact that the company has been able to register a solid operational performance on a quarter-on-quarter basis. So if you look at the yields, that is an important factor that we watch out for aviation companies. That has gone up by 20% on a quarter-quarter basis and come in at around 3.83%. And if you look at the trend, and the bar chart should come up for you on the screen, it has improved considerably on a quarter-on-quarter basis. The other parameter to look at is the EBITDA margin, and that too has come in at 21.2%, and that compares to a 3% level that we had seen just in the quarter gone by. So the operational performance has improved, and the Morgan Stanley brokerage note also talks about the same. So for example, they say that the trend, the positive trend in the EBITDA as well as the yield is something that the street should take a positive note of, and that is perhaps what's happening. And add to that the fact that the crude is below $61 per barrel, we are seeing Indigo taking off today.
Okay, all right, Anisha, thanks very much for that. Well, we do have some source-based information with regards to Videocon, so maybe we'll try and get more details on that particular story. But as of now, the other stock in focus is Bharti Infratel as well. Like we mentioned, it's off the day's high despite what was a good set of numbers this time round. Margins maintained at that over 40% level. In fact, down 4.5% now for Bharti Infratel. Rima is here to tell us more about that. Rima, quite a surprising reaction.
Yes, absolutely, Ekta. That's because the numbers actually look good. You know, we were expecting revenues to come down by 3.5%, but they only fell by 1%. Margins came in at 41.5% versus estimates of 39%. The expectation was that this would be a weak quarter on account of the 2-month impact of the tenancy exits by Vodafone and Idea. But that hasn't played out, and surprisingly, the company's numbers are fairly resilient. What Kotak says is that we are unable to find a bottom-up explanation for much lower than expected sequential decline in the services revenue, which is why that conference call at 2:30 p.m. will be very critical. Now, some concerns going ahead that yes, Q3 was a good quarter and a resilient quarter for Infratel, but going ahead, Vodafone Idea have already announced that they want to cut down their tenancies further by about 22,000, where they have some overlapping coverage. Now, that will not happen in one go. That will happen in the next 4 or 6 quarters, which means that earnings will continue to remain under pressure. And also bear in mind, in the numbers which went by, Jio has announced that they will put up their tower assets along with fiber assets up for monetization, which means that the overall supply of tower assets in the market goes up, and investors will have more to choose from, which could which could have an impact on the valuations of Infratel as well. So these are not factors which are new, because of which the stock may have corrected, but these are largely some more concerns ongoing for Bharti Infratel.
Okay, that con call, we'll get you details out of that. Rima, thank you very much for that. Remember, Infratel did see a rally from 250 to 300 from the middle of December to about the highs of 300 rupees around the 10th of January. So maybe, the stock was building in some sort of improvement or optimism. Numbers are out and there is a bit of pressure. But as Rima said, there could be more, and the call will tell us that. Ujjivan is the other one. Abhishek is here. The stock is up. Numbers have been good for the third quarter. Abhishek, what are the big highlights?
It's one of the best quarter in last 10 quarters in terms of the business growth for Ujjivan. So the disbursement at 2,885 crore, which is the highest ever quarterly disbursement, was led by customer acquisition and increase in ticket size. What this disbursement of 21% actually led to then AUM growth of being at 12.5%. So both the disbursement as well as the AUM growth sequentially is the highest ever for the bank. So disbursement to AUM ratio, that is how much of your disbursement is going into into building your loan portfolio is at rupees 36 for every rupees 100 of disbursement, which is the highest ever, and it leads to better duration of the asset book, leading to better repayment cycle. So strong business growth also aided in net interest margin being at healthy 11.8%, and the asset quality improved as gross NPA declined to 1.4 versus 1.9% quarter on quarter. Back to you.
Okay, well, definitely some amount of improvement which is coming in the performance of Ujjivan. That stock is up around 6 odd %. So delivered on those key metrics. We'll take a break. In fact, let's go back to those flashes where we will have Utkarsh joining in, where the CBI has registered a case against Videocon as well as New Power, and they're also conducting multiple searches, which we understand. So CBI, for example, is searching their office, I think in Ahmedabad or Aurangabad. One of them, that flash should come back for you. So that's the update that we're getting at this point. Aurangabad office of Videocon and New Power. So we'll get Utkarsh to talk more about this in terms of the CBI searches which are ongoing with regards to this particular case. Any which way, any more incremental updates that
nothing,
you have?
Nothing. So we'll wait for Utkarsh, I think, who's getting us that information. Okay, Utkarsh is with us. Utkarsh, over to you.
So what we are picking at this point of time, that an FIR has been registered in the Videocon NU Power case, and as we speak, at least in 4 locations, the searches of CBI are on. The searches of CBI are on in the Videocon office in Fort. In fact, the Aurangabad office of Videocon is also being searched. There are 4 locations of NU Power, which is Deepak Kuchar's firm, one in BKC, one in Nariman Point. There also, we have at this point of time searches are on. So clearly for a very long time the PE was on, and CBI had earlier questioned Rajiv Kuchar, who is the brother of Deepak Kuchar in this case. But now what we're picking up at this point of time is that CBI has gone ahead, filed an FIR, and searches are on at this point of time. Now we have to obviously wait and watch, and how does really CBI proceed in this case. But for a very long time, CBI had not registered an FIR, but today, given the fact that CBI registered an FIR, you can see more action by the CBI and more investigations in the case of NU Power, Videocon, and the link to ICICI Bank loan given by them.
Okay, all right, Utkarsh, thanks very much for that. I think it probably won't even impact the ICICI Bank stock anymore, considering Chanda Kochar's exit. But nonetheless, we'll get you more details with regards to this important story and the ongoings with it.